Family, welcome back. Back with a capital B to Life with the Corrys podcast, where we are doing life and making the most of things.
Good job, boo.
Yeah, did it.
Yeah, you did it. I'm Cicely.
And I am Darius Lamar Corey. And
Wow.
yeah, listen. You can Google me.
Your
it's
king
very
name.
easy to achieve. You ain't gonna get nothing if you try.
And
to
we're the
Google me.
Corrys.
Yep, we the Corrys. No,
Almost got him.
Almost. How you doing, boo?
I'm good. You know. Yeah, I'm good. What's our question though?
From 1 to 10, 1 being Batman Forever and 10 being
You using references that I don't understand.
Batman Begins.
Okay.
That's a very geek reference. 1 being bad, 10 being good.
How's life treating me?
Yes.
Life is treating me. I'm probably at about a 5, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
I mean, life is good, but I just need to like sleep for about 3 days. It's a lot going on right now,
Yes.
and I hear the Lord saying, you know, rest,
Relax.
my child.
Yeah.
Relax. You're doing too much. And so now I'm like really trying to like simplify things, honestly.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'll be glad when I'm on the other side of like my life being busy.
Okay. And
Yeah,
see, so
5.
you know, I think this is one of the things I was concerned about when you took on seminary, is that our life wasn't hectic. It was about the right amount of traffic for us being parents of 2 kids under the age of 5 or 5 and under.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you took it, I was like, ugh, that's a whole nother heavy bag that you're putting on. And I still trust it. So don't get me wrong. You know, I'm being transparent. I'm not trying to make you feel anything about it. But
Yeah.
so when I see you in it right now, you know, with you having to juggle the boys, juggle work, and deal with seminary, I think I'm just supporting you. But I don't like seeing that we are like literally jumping from one headspace to another. And sometimes it overlaps. Like you're still working while having to tend to the kids.
Yeah, well, here's the thing that the Lord is helping me with. I think that what is becoming increasingly more evident is that it's not about me pausing on seminary, it's about me pausing on these other things.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
my priorities are just being reoriented. And right now, seminary is the priority, our family is a priority, and I think, you know, it's about me reorganizing my life with those things. Yeah.
I think the word of the year should be organize.
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 What month we in? Okay, yeah, we could still have a word of
It's
a word
imperative
of the
that we
year.
start now. And I say
Yeah.
that because in every avenue of our lives, both as a couple and individually, organizing seems to be a pretty key component.
You are absolutely right, babe. That's good.
We've talked about me being a freelancer,
Mm-hmm.
how I need to organize the way I present myself, organize how I do things.
Yeah.
This house needs to be organized.
Mm-hmm.
It just needs to be. It's decluttering has been something that I've been, and I think it plays with my headspace too. Our headspace.
Yeah, I agree. We've talked about this.
That our life is so boom, 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 and then we're still having to deal with. It shows in how our house is a lot of times.
Yeah.
And then I think with you, without going in detail too much, there's some things that you want to remove, that you want to adjust for the better of yourself, and you just make sure that your headspace is at a place where you can perform the way you want to.
Yeah.
So I think organize should be the word of the year.
No, I agree. I agree with that. And I think we talked about this before when we were just with church leadership stuff and all of that. And it's talking about like preparing now for what's to come in the future, whatever that is. I think God has really got us in like this season of like, I hate saying like this season, it just sounds so, but he really has us in a state of preparation.
Yeah.
And I think getting in order finances, like just in a practical sense, like how we operate from day to day, like you said, house cleanliness, even just how we work, you know, I agree. That's good, babe.
Yeah. And just knowing where things are. I just, again, you know, when we switch from work to parents, parents to couples and things like that. There's oftentimes, for me personally, I'm like, where is this?
Baby, I know everything needs a place.
Even when I am so like, and I don't know if I have expressed this to you lately, but I have been getting some traction as a freelancer. And so when I'm asked questions and I'm like, where is this? Or why don't I have this to present to my patron? There's that level of frustration. And then, I get someone else. And so like, though I'm blessed that this is starting to happen, it goes to show that I can't be, jumbling through things to be like, oh, here you go. Especially when I am talking to like my father, who is in some sense a freelancer as well. And I badger him about how he conducts his business.
Yeah.
When I am, I have not gotten the plank out of my eye, so to speak. So
no, I agree. Organize. It's a good word.
Hold us to it. For me, I would say from 1 to 10, it's about a 5, almost a 4.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
5, 4-ish, just because.
I think we just tired.
Yeah, we're burnt out. We really need a vacation. We need something that we can just depressurize. But I do think that, because I think the last time we went on vacation, we were at that point, it was like, we need to depressurize. And I don't think that our particular situation is not uncommon. A lot of parents, a lot of people who have a lot going on go through this. But I still think that there's opportunity for us to, again, organize our lives so that it's not always so jumbled.
Yeah.
And I keep going back to tangible things, but like I go into my office and I realize that I can't work in that space because of the way it's set up. And my beautiful wife has constantly said that if this was in a better place, you would be in a better place. And I can eat those words. You have not been more true than ever. And so I'm just like, look, I need to purge, get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm having a problem purging because
I can purge for you.
I don't want you to. That's the thing. I have that.
I'm
still battling with.
You don't want to organize.
I don't want to get rid of stuff that I can't make money off of.
I didn't say
But yeah, just.
If you don't get rid of all that Poshmark stuff.
I just sold a pair of shoes for the price that I bought them.
I just sold. Baby, we not hurting for cash. We
I
don't.
know, but it's just, that's always in the back of my mind. It's like, I can make money off of it.
No,
but yeah, that's where I am. So I really want I want another restart, but I want to come back with the mentality of, this reminds me of Rev. He wasn't on vacation. He was actually in the hospital. But when he got an opportunity to kind of get his bearings, he was on fire. He was calling everybody. He had all his plans and ideas. Yeah. I want to be like that after a vacation. I want to come back refreshed, rejuvenated, and recharged for us to be like, all right, let's do this. Let's get this in order.
Kids or no kids?
It could. That's a tricky question. It's asterisk. So if we have, I think this time kids.
Okay.
But I would like to be at a place where we're not. It's still a vacation for us.
Yeah.
So like with our parenting couples that we vacation with, we can still have that environment where we can enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
But if it's just us, we're just going to be parenting on the vacation.
Okay. As you're talking, I'm just realizing that I didn't put my lip gloss on. Are my lips chapped?
No.
All right, cool.
You're fine.
We're good.
You're perfect, baby.
Great. Thank you, baby. You're so sweet. All right, let's get to it.
All right.
Which I feel like the word of the year is in a good segue, I think, maybe. Well, today we are talking about when life has you asking, what is my purpose?
Looking at that one. Which one are you looking at?
Why? Because this the camera
one?
right
All
here.
Okay, my bad. You're right.
See how you do me?
You're right.
Like,
I was just making sure.
Why you all in my grill?
I was trying to do it subtly, and then you
What's the
called
next
me out
line?
on it.
Can you say it on?
Can you pay my bills?
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep. But
I don't know what I've been
When life
singing.
has you, say it again for me because you gave it to me right before the episode.
When life has you asking, what is my purpose?
What is my purpose?
What is my purpose? Today we're going to be talking about, now you got me all torn up.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about meaning, purpose, calling.
Yes.
All of the above.
Yes. And so what kind of, and I'm going to speak for myself a little bit in this avenue. I was thinking about my purpose versus I guess not my calling, it could be my vocation. But as I was growing up, I've always been an artist. Mm-hmm. The way I feel when I do art and when I do art for people, I sought God about, okay, is this my purpose, is to be an artist for sake of expanding your kingdom? As I got older, I was like, okay, I really enjoy doing this. to the point where I don't have to be paid for it. And they say anything that you can do for free is your passion.
Anything you want to do for free is your
Is your
passion.
passion. I hear the
Sorry,
music too.
yeah, is that outside? Our
Yes, it
neighbor,
has to be.
somebody is. I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
y'all. My bad, y'all.
It's fine.
It's a lot going on. But yes, as I got older and I started maturing in my livelihood or my profession or my freelancing as well as my Christian faith, I had some doubts, or I just got in my head about, all right, is my giftings necessarily what I am supposed to do as my livelihood, or is it something that I do as a way of expanding kingdom and I get another job? There were some things like, I think it was Paul, Lord, and when he went to the city of Corinth, and it was mentioned that he met a couple there who they shared the same trade in common, which were tent makers. And so it was implied that Paul was also a tent maker. So he wasn't necessarily, he had a job aside from him spreading the ministry. There was the whole thing about, okay, why was Jesus a carpenter other than, aside from the fact that his father was a carpenter and that was kind of tradition for you to take on your father's job versus him just spreading the ministry. So there is instances in the Bible where people who spread the gospel still had jobs. And that them being ministers was not their full livelihood. And I was like, all right, Lord, I like doing art and I want to do it for you. That doesn't necessarily that I should be a full-on freelance or not even freelance. I could work for a company. And so it had me go down the rabbit hole of what is my purpose? What is my calling? What's another one? Purpose, calling,
Giftings, like what I'm supposed to be doing in my life.
What am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I didn't want to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. I think one of the issues here, first off, we're approaching this from the context of like, from our Christian worldview. But I think the first question for anybody who is asking the question, like, what is my purpose? Like, your purpose has to be rooted in something bigger than yourself.
Yes.
You first have to answer the question of like meaning, like, what is life? Why am I here? All those questions that we talked about earlier in the podcast. And so for us as Christians, that's the way that we're approaching this conversation. I think that the big thing where Christians can get caught up though is that we mix up purpose and calling. Mm-hmm. We don't really understand the differences. So like purpose is same for every Christian. And that is to glorify God, to make him known. Like you can do that in a variety of ways. And that variety of ways that you can pursue your purpose is your calling. And I think we talked about this a few weeks ago. It's talking about like gifts and things of that sort. Like once you find what you're gifted in, how does that relate to everything? So like for me, I have a gift of teaching. I'm a teacher at heart. And so I could take that literally and be like, oh, I should be applying to be in somebody's elementary school, middle school, high school, whatever, so I can literally teach. Like this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. But just because I'm a teacher doesn't mean I need to literally be a teacher. Just because you're an artist doesn't mean that you need to literally be an artist. Is that your artistry shows up in all that you do, and that as you do that, you are fulfilling your calling. For me, as I show up in the world, I'm teaching wherever I am in whatever capacity. And so therefore I am fulfilling my calling. So like I can teach as when I'm pouring into my kids, our kids. I can teach when I'm at church. I can teach at my job doing whatever my role, no matter what my role is. I can put on the hat of being a teacher by like, you know, walking alongside my colleagues, walking alongside my team, and making sure that I'm showing up well there. And that as I do that, I'm reflecting God as he would, you know, desire for me to be a reflection of him. So like, there was like this whole movement of being like purpose driven life. I read the book. You read, you know, everybody read the book. Rick Warren was out here selling millions, you know, and it's a great book. But I think also though, you can like swing the pendulum all the way over in the purpose direction of like, and you get so caught up on, am I making the right decisions? Is this what God would have me to do?
Yeah.
Lord, should I go left or should I go right? And it ends up being, I was going to say hypnotizing. That's not paralyzing. That's
Yeah.
the word. It ends up being paralyzing when in reality, as Christians, the two questions you should be asking is, does it glorify God and does it make him known?
Yes.
And if it does, the answer is yes.
That defines your purpose.
That defines your purpose.
When I think about calling, I'm drawing a blank with the scripture, but let your light shine so that others can see.
That's in Peter.
It's in Peter. And that, I think that's where your calling comes in. About, you said purpose is glorifying God, making him known, and worshiping him. Those are my three. I added worship.
Yeah, that's good.
Your calling is how you go about doing that.
Yep.
Now how do you, so like I'm being very technical. This is the geek in me. When you think about lights, you think about the types of lights. You have lanterns, you have flashlights, you have ceiling lights. It's about how you shine. It was a really good, I can't remember the person, but a great analogy of being a flashlight. Turn on the flashlight and you putting it face down. You are not fulfilling the purpose of what you were built by being face down. So once you understand how you were built, then you can utilize what it is you were built to do and you let your light shine that way. And so I think that is where it becomes a little tricky, because your calling, which is what we're talking about, is not always, you don't always have just one calling for your life.
Yeah.
Is what I'm learning, that you have seasonal callings. I honestly believe that there are shepherds that are called to preach or called to shepherd, but only for a season. Because technically that would imply that shepherds or pastors are called to be a pastor until they die, which I don't necessarily think is true. I don't have any scriptural reference to back that, but I know that there is a calling in your life. There's a season, and there's a scripture for that as well, is that God has plans and plans are seasonal.
Yeah.
But it's just about navigating that, of course, through understanding who you are in Christ. And it's so for me, I think that was another thing that I thanked God for, is that I know that my creativity, my artistry has been ingrained in me for fulfilling a purpose of acknowledging him.
Yeah.
But the frustration was that, okay, Lord, when do I do what?
Right. Yeah.
I want to teach. When do I teach? I want to just let my art show how much I love you and that I acknowledge you. When do I do that? How much time do I give that?
Yeah.
And I think that has often been, and it could be just how jumbled my mind is, again, organized, of when do I be what for the sake of his kingdom? And I think that's a very common frustration that I think some of my friends have that I won't mention, but they want to do the work of the Lord, but they are so, they would like, I need to know what that looks like. So I realize that's pretty common.
Yeah, it is. And I think when it comes to asking the question of when, first off, I'm not purporting to have all the answers. Like, this is like a literal, I guess, battle or struggle that we're going through right now, where we're trying to figure out timing.
Yes.
And
okay. I'm back.
Yeah. We're trying to, we both know our purpose. We both know our calling. And I think more now than ever, we feel like we're called to ministry.
Yes.
And we're just trying to figure out how to navigate, our gifts and our talents within that calling. That made me lose my train of thought.
While you're thinking, I think ministry is still a little bit vague. I think that net is pretty wide for us. We're both creatives. We both express our acknowledgement of Christ through our creativity. There's a lot of subfolders or buckets of how we do that. So we do youth ministry. We do that in a creative fashion. Like I said, I'm a visual artist. You are what was that? Creative artist or creative arts. What does journalism and writing fall under? I say visual arts for mine.
I mean, writing is an art.
I just didn't feel like it was okay. I didn't want to undersell it, but
No,
yes.
that's fine.
So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
Well,
so,
I'm
okay,
getting
but
my thought, and
boom.
that's why I kept trying to.
I want to fill that space. Cool, cool, cool.
So yes, I think we were talking about timing, and I think that the questions that we can circle in our mind can become paralyzing when God just wants us to do something. And it's not about having all the answers or having the road fully paved in front of us and knowing what direction it's going to go in. It's like, what can you do right now? What are you prepared to do right now? Like, there are times where, okay, I know what my purpose is. I got my calling. And now, like, it's like, all right, God, do I just jump right into it?
Yeah.
And I think that's where we have to ask for like wisdom and be discerning when we're trying to make the decision of how many steps forward to take. But ultimately, God is like, just take a step and have, as long as you're, glorifying God, making me known, worshiping God. Like, though, as you do those things, the next step probably will present itself. And I think, again, what I was getting at is that we're talking to ourselves right now, because as far as the ministry conversation is concerned, like, ministry doesn't have to mean that you like, giving sermons every week. I think this is ministry, like our podcast. I think our podcast is ministry. I think the point that I'm making in that we feel like we're called to ministry, I'm saying that I feel like the words that come out of our mouths matter because they are going to change people's hearts towards God. That's what I mean by ministry. And so, like, I feel like we're called to do that wherever we go. And I feel like we're called to do that on a larger scale than just our next door neighbor or our current church faith community. So that's what I mean by call to ministry. How we do it, for us, it's going to look like a lot of different things, I think. And for people listening, it's probably there might be people that's listening. It doesn't have to be one thing, like you said. As we said, after our calling, once we understand our calling, and your calling is literally how you live out your purpose. Once you figure out your calling, it's about taking small incremental steps and saying, all right, Lord, I took one step. I need you to prepare me for the next one. As opposed to saying, all right, God, what's coming next? Just say, all right, God, prepare me for what's next. And then before you know it, you've taken 10 steps and you've achieved more than you ever thought that you would just by saying yes again and again and again.
That's good. That's really good, because I was literally thinking about David when he was, I guess, promoted in his
David
life.
in the Bible or David we know?
In the Bible.
Okay, all right, cool.
David in the Bible, him going from a shepherd to a king.
Yeah.
There was no, from what I remember, there was no pushback. It was just like, all right, how do I do this? I think in his purpose of just acknowledging Christ, he out there in the fields worshiping, getting familiar, enjoying Christ, which is another one, worshiping, enjoying him is under that umbrella. But yeah, just understanding how to navigate or pivot with God in wherever he goes with you. I think once your purpose is established and you have understood it and you understand how that works, as far as the tiers of what it, like, if you know how to worship, you know how to make him known in what you do, he'll refine what you do in your calling.
Yep.
And then, like what you said, if it's like, all right, Lord, you got me here, show me what I got to do where you got me.
Yeah.
And then you become the king, and then you face, what's the word I'm looking for? Opposition. Mm-hmm. And though you're frustrated, David, all through Psalms, was him talking about, hey, this sucks, God. I'm angry. I'm scared.
Yeah.
But I am making these songs for you because my relationship is still there with you. I'm still worshiping you through my anger, through my frustration, through my fear, through my loneliness. And I think that was established because he had already knew his purpose. And so I think once we learn that, like you said, once we learn, hey, God got this. I know the guy that rules over my life. So when he moves us in whatever direction, I'm not like, should I be here? It's more like, all right, I'm here. What do I do first?
That, yeah, that's good. Like understanding your purpose. Once you have purpose in the right frame of mind, it gives you the inspiration that you need as you do your calling. Because one thing that we can think about once we start to pursue our calling, as soon as that road get bumpy, we're like, oh, I made the wrong choice. This must not be my calling. I got it wrong. When in fact, it's like, as you do your calling, if you're motivated by those three things when it comes to purpose, it makes the bumps make more sense because you have something to like bounce. Am I doing the right thing off of? Like if you don't have, what is a litmus test? Litmus?
Litness.
Litmus?
I think it's litness.
I don't know. Is it litmus or litmus?
Y'all let us know.
Says the
I'm not
writer.
gonna look it up.
Is litmus, I think. Yeah, you're right. Thank you, boo. Once you have that and it's centered on God, it's centered on Christ, like the rest begins to make sense. We live in a world where I think we get so caught up on things feeling good and having all the answers and things making sense all the time. And calling, as we pursue our calling, it won't always make sense if we have it out of whack. You know? Yeah. I think that's where I was going there. I think I just want to kind of encourage people that are listening who may be thinking like, I'm feeling a bit lost, or just because you don't have all the answers, or you're feeling a bit disillusioned in terms of like where you are. It may be that it's time to organize and to simplify things and get back to those three basic things. Yeah. As you do those things more, calling will begin to manifest more, so to speak. I just like, it's not instant. No. It's not always going to make sense. It's not always going to be fun. But I do think that, that's the other thing I was going to say. I do think that, I'll just switch my other thoughts. I lost the last thought. So how do you know your calling?
You asking me?
Yeah, I have an answer, but I actually want to.
I think my calling, because it hasn't been specific yet. I definitely think that my artistry has something to do with my calling.
I think that is your calling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think because the conversation we had before, ultimately it was like, I find so much joy in doing art, not just for myself, but for others. To the point where when I successfully fulfill an art project with someone for sake of expanding, whether it's branding, whether it's illustrations, when that is a success, I do give God the praise for it, because it feels like I executed something that he gave me, Yeah. And I don't feel like that for anything else. It's just like, I got this done. I enjoyed it. It was challenging. I still loved it. And for some reason, whatever I did, it was because it was God. It was meant for me to do what I did.
Yeah.
It's almost uncanny. And I think because it's so supernatural that it's kind of hard to explain. But ultimately, it's like, I just achieved something that God meant for me to achieve. And so when that is completed, I give him the glory for it.
Yeah.
Before I really acknowledged that it was my calling, it was just like, man, and this was a problem for us. When I used to do work for people, I was so eager to let my gift expand, or whatever, just execute whatever their branding needed. I was like, look, just give me what you can for sake of me being able to do what I can with what I got. And it was something that I was like, this is definitely something I should be doing.
Yeah.
I never challenged. Well, I'm not going to contradict myself because I said at the beginning of the video, but I knew that regardless, I was never going to stop doing what I did for people. Even if I was a plumber, working at Finish Line like I was still going to be using my art to elevate someone else, because I knew that was my passion. Yeah,
that is your calling.
Okay.
1,000%. 1,000%. Because you have to think about how many people do we know that are just like, I'm just not creative. Now, I can challenge that, but, because I feel like everybody has a little bit of creativity in them. But you help people to see what they can't see.
Yeah.
So there are times where like creating a logo or doing conceptualizing, that's the word, conceptualizing
Got
something
it.
for someone is because they need to be able to see it on paper. Like, oh, I have something in my head, but I can't draw it out. And you know how many people have come to you with that and, come to you to say, help me to figure out how to lay out this room. We've done that for our own house and for, our own things that you worked on. It was like, I'll just draw it out. Like, because some people just really need to be able to see.
Yeah.
And I think that that is what you do for people. And you can take a vision and actually make it visible.
Yeah.
Like that is the calling.
Yeah.
And because as you do it, you feel like, man, God, like I feel like I'm doing something for you, even if it wasn't a Christian thing that you actually did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to piggyback off of that, and this sounds, I mean, I'm gonna give myself praise. I don't do it often. Is that when people say, you really, you have something, you really
Yeah.
have a talent. And I was flattered, but it was almost like, I don't see what you're seeing. So it was like beyond something that I can conceive. And I don't think it was always insecurity or anything like that, but it was just like, okay. But when I got older, I was like, this is a big deal working for the company
Yeah.
that I work for now and seeing my contributions artistically tangibilized to something such
Straight across the stage. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm really am making an impact. One of my good brothers today, Brother Givens, we were having a conversation about a contract that we have now, and during the conversation, he was like, I saw what you did for Brother Sanders, and I just want to let you know you did a really good job. I can tell. I'm gonna tell you now, you're going to be a really big impact for our region. So that has nothing to do with anything. That was something I did for our fraternity, even though we were conversing about his business.
Right.
And so to know that I am making an impact without me even knowing, like I didn't even know people had seen what I had did for a brother some weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so that is like, look, that's all I want. I don't want the glory. If you want it done, I'll take the money
Right.
because I got bills.
And then like,
I'm not going to block your blessing.
right.
But I want people to know that, hey, I have something that I was given for sake of expanding what you have.
Yeah.
I want to make an impact with you with what I got. And I think that is what our purpose is to make him known in what he created.
Yep.
If I created children, you best believe I want them to excel in everything that they do so that I can say I created that.
You mentioned the boy.
Legit. I mean, you say, when you think about traditionally, you see a football player that excels, the father or the mother is like, that's my boy.
Yeah.
When you see something that you created excel, you say that's mine. And
Absolutely.
I think that's what God is looking for with us. He wants to be pleased in what we do. And that's what we want. I'm like, bro, I want God to be proud of what he created.
You talking, boy, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Lord is speaking to you on this evening. What I wanted to bring up real quick is I can't take credit for this. Derek Prince has a great video about calling and purpose. I think it's called "What Is Our Calling" is the name of the video. It's an older video, and he gives this analogy of a duck in water, and I don't even know if it's his original analogy or not. And essentially, he's saying that like a duck, as it's sitting on water, is like in its element. It's real chill. Like the duck is floating along. I know what I'm doing. This is my environment. This is my space. But as soon as you take a duck outside of water, they're a little awkward, flouncing around, all of that. And I think that is how we can think about our calling. So it's like knowing what are you called to do. Well, what is it that you like? You float on water. You do it with ease. And even like if a wave was to come, you could still balance yourself out and kind of be like, okay, I got it. That was a big one, but I'm still on top of this water. I ain't flip over. And those are the things that you go after. Those are the things that you lean into. Those are the things that you endeavor towards. Because at the end of the day, if you finding yourself flailing around, Now, sometimes that might just be God, trying to refine you. But if you flailing for too long and you flailing again and again and again, you awkward again and again and again, that could be the Lord's way of saying, like, you a duck out of water. Like, you not meant to do this. This is not your calling. And it could be that there's something about what you think is your calling and you're flailing around at. It might be something about it that is enticing you, but it may not be for the right reasons. So for instance, if you, I don't know, let's say you think that you're called to be a public speaker. And every time you go on stage, it's just difficult for you to get clarity of thought or to get, what? You think you called to be an influencer, right? So it's one thing where you may not have a lot of followers.
Me.
Right. But you called it influence. Now, it may be one thing that you don't have a lot of followers, and so you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna keep going. Not having a lot of followers doesn't mean that it's not God's way of saying you're not meant to be an influencer. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is that if as you are influencing or you're pursuing being an influencer, because that's what you feel like you're called to do, as you're doing that, you're actually not influencing anyone, then that means that you are a duck out of water. You aren't saying things that are insightful. People aren't coming to you as if you're an expert. You don't have people sharing or wanting to know more about what you're doing. Then it could be that you are not called to be an influencer. And in fact, you are drawn to thinking that being an influencer is your calling because you see what other people do. And you're like, oh, I can do that. But you're motivated by the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Now, for us, we already told y'all, 3 people listen to this podcast. We good. I'm influencing somebody. And here's the thing. I don't have to influence people on the internet. I can influence people in my neighborhood and still be an influencer. But I'm saying all of that to say we have to be motivated by the right things when it comes to our calling. And we have to be listening to little nudgings that God will give us to say, you're headed in the right direction, because you balance out them waves like a duck in water, or you headed in the wrong direction because you out here tripping over your feet like a duck outside the water.
Hitting.
Man, let me tell you, we should be tied more often. Nah, we shouldn't.
I rebuke that.
Rebuke
Lord,
that.
She don't mean that, Lord. She on fire right now. That was really good. I had a point that you said that I can't think of right now. Oh, my favorite scripture is in Colossians
3.
3. I think it's 23. Look
I think it is 23.
It says, "Do all things that you would do unto the Lord, not unto man," because that's as far as I usually get.
Baby, do the scripture justice.
My heart is racing. But essentially,
where is my Bible?
You live for the approval, the pleasure, and the appraisal of the Lord. You do all things. You present all things. You present yourself as you will for the Lord. Because if you do it for man, man is fickle. If you're basing what you're supposed to do based off the approval of man, it will always fail. Because like man, it won't be here for long. Where the person that created you to put you here, so your author and your finisher is the one that you kind of want to be in good, in the right railings with. So,
absolutely.
I really lost it because you were on fire.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not sorry, but is it 23? Yeah, it's 23. You were right.
Great. What does it say?
This is NASB 95 because that's what I've been on lately, and in seminary because it is the closest to the original context. I'm just saying seminary in here. I don't know what y'all read, but I read the NASB 1995. Okay. There it is. All right. Colossians, which is in I was about to be real, like that's in 1240 AD. I don't know. All right, whatever you do your work heartily as for the Lord rather than for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance. It is the Lord Christ whom you serve. Here's the thing, though. I went into 24. I never paid attention to the last part of that. I might teach on this.
Okay.
I don't want to steal it from you, but
No, go ahead.
I feel like we could teach on this.
It's mine regardless.
I
But
know.
it's for all of us.
Yeah. Whatever you do, do your work heartily as for the Lord rather than for men. I think that's the main point you're getting at.
Yes.
Is that whatever you do,
Yeah.
first off, do something.
Do something. Great segue. That's where once you understand you've established your purpose, which is doing something that acknowledges Christ. Worshiping is also acknowledging Christ, but in an intimate level.
Yep.
Enjoying Christ, also on an intimate level. Once you have that grounded, God will start refining what it is you do for sake of why you're here. So those are my action items for you all. Get your purpose down. Your calling will come right after. I feel like that was a really good place to land. Also, speaking of, as we close out, we would really love it if you guys would give us some questions. So within the next couple weeks,
Oh yeah.
3 weeks, I think, 2 or 3 weeks from now, we'll let you know well in advance. But we're gonna go live. We're gonna go live. We're gonna sit in front of you. We're gonna converse with you all. We're gonna answer your questions. But we would love to have some of your questions prior to the live, because some of us don't really like the spontaneity. They like to be prepared.
Whoa. How did
We were conversing. I just wanted to
No,
make eye
I don't like
contact
how
the
you
whole
edge your eyes over.
No, I'm serious. But
Straight
no, we
bullets,
would like
just-
some questions just to get ahead. So when we start to generate an audience, we already got some questions that we have been conversing about.
Yeah.
So leave them in the comments. If you follow us on Instagram, them Corrys, right? Or is it Life with the Corrys on Instagram?
It's Life with the Corrys.
Life with the Corrys on Instagram. If you want to hit us personally, Darius Corey, Sister Corey, give us some questions. Actually, no. Send it to Life with the Corrys on IG or comment down below
Yeah.
your questions
There we go.
so we can start padding our list. So when we have the live in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's our final episode.
Of the
Our final
season.
episode of the season.
Yes.
We have one episode left, and that episode is going to be a live episode.
Yep.
All right. With a live conversation
Yes.
of us answering questions or talking about topics that you give us by commenting below or at Life with the Corrys on IG.
Yes.
Yeah. I think we should give some final thoughts and then we'll end it.
I gave mine. Mine was legit. Establishing your purpose or understand what you're doing to your purpose, and your calling will come after.
Oh, man. All right. Well, now I got to think about my final thought.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I would say I mainly want to encourage anyone who is watching this, listening to this, and is feeling a bit purposeless and is feeling a bit lost or is feeling a bit like you just kind of going day by day. First off, I would encourage you to pray. Seek the Lord about your calling. Seek the Lord about whether you're thinking about your calling in the right way. And then, ask yourself, like, what am I good at? What am I really nice at? Because it might be that your gifts are showing up in different ways, like I was saying earlier about you can be I'm a teacher, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm literally a teacher. I can teach in a variety of different ways. More than anything, I believe that God is calling us to draw closer to him and to change our perspective, to change our prayers. And so that's what I would encourage anyone that's listening, honestly, is to sit in a room in silence and say, all right, Lord, what would you have me to pray? And what would you have me to do? And watch how you just be face down on that floor or doing something that you never thought you'd be doing, all because you asked God. So
That's good. To piggyback off of you, don't discredit what it is that you love to do
yeah,
in your calling. I think if you want to become a cosmetologist, if you want to be a podiatrist, if you love pediatrician, if you say, I just want to care for kids, but I don't know where the Lord comes in. If it's like, I want to do nails, I don't know where the Lord comes in. Don't focus on that. Focus on what you love to do and how you can use it. I think one of the most pivotal people in my life, ministry or relationship with Christ, was someone who was cutting my hair. And if he wasn't there, not to say that was his calling, but I do know in conversation that him cutting hair was an avenue of him making God known to people that was coming. And
Absolutely.
to me, that sounds like a calling.
yep,
So do not discredit anything that God has placed in your heart that you love, because that could be your calling.
Yeah. And God can show up as you do that thing,
Yep,
even if it's a quote unquote secular thing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Good job, baby.
Good job,
I love
boo.
you so much.
I love you.
You all right.
You all right. All right, then.
All right. I appreciate you all. Love y'all for sticking it out with us. If you haven't already, please like.
Did you?
If you like, and if not, tell us why. Subscribe. And it's free for you and does a ton for us. And you will be the first to be notified about our next episode, which is live. So
Which is live.
tune in with it. Not tune in, but yeah. Love
All
y'all.
those things. Bye.
Peace out.